The new moon in Gemini 2024 is something else. It is something very special. It may be one of the most spectacular new moons of the year. So I want to show you the chart really quickly because you can see how many planets are lined up in Gemini. So if you check it out, you see the sun, the moon, and Venus. They're all together. Jupiter and Mercury are in there. It's quite the lineup. One thing you might say is, isn't Jupiter in detriment in Gemini because its home sign is the furthest away it can get over there in Sagittarius? Well, no, not really. Jupiter has dignity in Gemini, in the decans and in the bounds. So it's actually not that bad of a situation for Jupiter to be in. And what it does is allows Jupiter, though, to quiet down a little bit and be a supporting character, supporting actor to Mercury. Mercury is the boss, and it lowers the bravado, the extremity that Jupiter can get into when it's super big. It kind of brings it down a notch. And in a good way, I think. It's a good little more humility. Venus in Gemini asks this question about information. Like, what information do you find beautiful and stimulating and lovely? What content or what kind of communication harmonizes with you? And also Venus knows what she doesn't like. She knows that, that I don't like. So she's asking you, what are you feeling drained by? Because if you don't like something, you don't feel like you're connecting with it anymore, you don't need it in your life. We need to listen to what makes us have pleasure, and the communications right now specifically, it's to enhance, not to detract. Venus in Gemini is changeable and needs a lot to keep interested. Boring is not beautiful, the Gemini Venus. So there may be a different need or desire for a connectedness, a level to satisfy you right now that's different. You may need to find some new mental grass to graze on, so to speak, or step into a new line of thinking, learning, speaking, creating, communicating. Different ways to get your voice out, your message out, your interests, your individuality out into the world. Something that's new, it's different, it's Gemini. This is a time to let your curiosity open up without judgment, without conditions, Gemini style, where everything is okay. Left, right, up, down. Whenever you have a new moon, you look to the ruler. The ruler of this new moon in Gemini is Mercury. How's Mercury doing? How you doing? Mercury's doing well. Mercury is in its home sign. It is hanging out with the benefics, the big benefic and the Venusian benefic, the sun and the moon. Just had a cool trine with Pluto, picked up some info, and so it's good. Any ideas or explorations, anything you do now, setting seeds, that's kind of what you do at a new moon. It's fertile, new ground, can ripen into something beautiful in about 6 months. And that's when the Gemini full moon will happen. It was suggested to me that I give a shout out to the original creators of the Sabian symbols because I usually mention James Burgess. The Sabian symbols were created by two people, Elsie Wheeler and Mark Edmund Jones, in 1925 in San Diego, California. She was wheelchair bound. She was an orphan. Like, she had a really tough life, and she would help a lot of other people. Mark Edmund Jones was friends with her, and he took her to Balboa Park in San Diego and had a stack of index cards with a symbol and a number and showed it to her, and she came up with those 360 images. So anyway, I find this a really beautiful, powerful system to use for symbology, for metaphor, for analogy. And I usually mention James Burgess mostly because I'm reading excerpts from his analysis of the symbols, so I have to give credit for reading his words. The Sabian symbol Gemini 17, the head of a robust youth changes into that of a mature thinker. This is from Burgess. It takes grit to deal effectively with reality and a high degree of subtlety to understand how others deal with it differently. We all have to release the illusions and distractions of youth at some point as we come up against life's hard knocks. This process shapes the mind towards self-confidence and cooperative creativity, both of which have healing effects. When you look at that Sabian symbol, we got youth and robustness, that's very mercurial, and mature thinking. That is very Jupiterian. And as we age, the goal, I believe, is to become less irrationally emotional, less outburst expressive, argumentative, dogmatic, holding on to our beliefs as absolute truth. And you need to go through a lot to get to that point. It's not easy. Mercury is the representative of argumentation, debate, and also youth. And, well, that's what we've got going on in our youth. A lot of times we argue with our parents or we argue with other people. We think we know all this stuff. But the truth is we have to go through a lot of experience. Youth is about action, experience, having things happen to you for the first time, and making mistakes, doing things that are dumb, that are dumb. And what are they there for? To learn, to gather experience so that you can mold that later in life into something that's called wisdom. What information feels good to you? What are you in harmony with? And if you don't know, this could be a good time to ask. You could ask this in your intentions and just say, you know, help me, guide me. This new moon is a time to just maybe put it into the world, to communicate and be a little bit chatty with this new moon if you want to. It can be answering your questions. We also should consider that all of these planets in Gemini that are flavoring the new moon have just had a trine with Pluto. Pluto's fresh in Aquarius, another air sign. Ideas are bubbling to the surface from somewhere very deep inside. And it brings a level of positivity to metamorphosis, to transformation, to change. There's this interconnectedness, and there's hope. That's what Aquarius is all about. Aquarius is about hope. And with Pluto there, it's maybe saying, hey, we need a new hope. Not like the movie, but you know, kind of like the movie, maybe, I don't know, like Star Wars. We do need a new hope. And being from Aquarius and coming into this idea factory of Gemini, it could be a knowledge that's out of nowhere. It can be weird and wild and strange, and maybe it's something you would have rejected before, a new idea that is asking you to listen right now and consider something different, because it could be a game changer for you. It could be something really big. Okay. I like you just the way you are. I appreciate you. I thank you for letting me be my authentic self and share this information with you. I hope you have a beautiful new moon in Gemini. And I'll talk to you next time.